The next page we're going to be building is the About page. To be fair, we're not going to be learning anything new here. We're just going to re-practice things that we've already covered. So if you feel like you're good to skip to the next video, great. If you want to see how we're doing this and re-practice old concepts, let's do this together. So I have a new page here about. I already have the normal content that we have here. And actually looking at the main thing that we have here, this grid, 2-column grid with an image is actually very, very similar to what we have here in the About Me. So I think we can actually go ahead and copy actually the grid from the homepage, and that's going to save us even more time. So let's go here and let's take this grid, About grid. I'm just going to copy that. It's also a good name for the About section, I guess. So in here, we've got the section, container. I can paste the grid inside. I also want to add an H1 at the top. So while selecting the container, Command D, H1, not after the container, actually before the grid. And we are going to call this the story behind the lens. And also we're going to give this section, remember we created a class top section to give this a little bit more space. And we also want to turn this into a teal color. Now we already have a few background color lemon and background color peach. We don't have a teal yet. So what I'm going to do is, I don't want to obviously create this as a combo class here because I want this to be a utility class which I can apply anywhere else. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to open up a random div just so that I have an element that I can give a class that is not a combo class, just a class. And then I can create BG color. I'm going to call this teal. And I'm going to pick from the variables that we've got this. Actually, it's called aqua, but whatever. So now we've got this background color teal, which sets the background. We can at this point erase this temporary div. And now going to select the section. And now I'll be able to apply this as a utility class. And fantastic. Although one thing I do notice now with this aqua is that the spacing that we have here is actually pushing it down, and there's not going to be a background color behind the navigation. Okay, so using this padding at the top here is actually going to create a problem for us. So what I'm going to do is, let's go back. I'm going to remove this background color teal so that we can edit our top section. Actually, there's another way that I want to show you. In this case, I want to make an edit to the top section class, but not to the background color teal. So you can see here, this is inheriting from 3 selectors. And I can actually select here this one, section, top section, to edit just this top section and not make edits to the background color. So I'm selecting it now. I got an access to edit the top section. And what I want to do is I'm going to remove the margins, which is pushing space outside of this box. And I'm going to add the 60 pixels to the top padding. It's going to look the same, but it's actually going to keep the box aligned to the top of the page. So I'm going to remove this, turn this into 0. Now you see that it's at the top. And I'm going to turn this into 90. And now it gets the same effect, but it's just we have more space inside of the actual div. So that's actually what I wanted to do. And I feel like that looks good. Now let's get back to our content. So the first thing that we have here is we've got the image on the left. And that basically means that in our grid, the image comes first. So I'm going to bring it to the top. And now the image comes first. I can also double click it and replace the image with our About image. And for this content, I actually don't need the card. All of these classes that manage the card, let's actually remove them. No round corners, no background color, and About content. If I remove that, then I don't have any spacing at all, which is actually what we have here, right? I can copy this text. Let's see how this looks. Paste that here. Actually, that's the layout that we need. Paste this here. I don't need the button in this case, and I also don't need this cards here, so I can remove this. And we likely do need a little bit of space here at the top. And I'm going to add that here. Now I'm adding space here to the About grid. That's also going to affect the home page. So we'll just make sure that it looks good there as well. And I think that, let's see what we have. Okay, so that looks good. The next thing that we need is this logos section. So we can actually create that after the grid because we don't need the grid for that. So let's create a wrapper for that. Let's create a div and let's call it, again, not in the About grid, but outside of it. And let's call this, actually call this logo list wrapper. I'm wondering if I want this to wrap just the logos or the text as well. Actually, for the text, we can just bring in text right here, like a text element, text block, and give this text label, right? This is the text label. This is the style that we have for this text here. So I can just copy the text, paste it here. And for the logos, let's call this About logo wrapper. So here we need to bring in, we've got 7 logos here. And I went ahead and uploaded the assets. So we've got them here. And I can drag them inside. And let's actually copy and paste this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then just replace each one of those as a different logo. Now, while I'm doing this, this is a good time to say that now as we're starting to upload more and more assets into the assets panel, let's select this one, it can start getting a little bit messy, and it would actually be a good practice to start putting the assets in folders just so that we have better organization and we don't have a huge mess here as we're getting into a big website. So I would probably do something like open up a new folder, call this logos, and then once I have this folder, I can select the images. Select 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I would probably create maybe a folder for each one of the pages or something like this. I'm going to move them into the logos folder, and then I'll have a much cleaner panel to work with. Okay, so I have got the logos here. Maybe this one didn't change to the logo. Dazed. Got it. I want them to be equally spaced out, and the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to turn the logo wrapper into a flex box that is going to not left align them, but space between them. And this is just beautiful. Of course, if the screen is going to be smaller, the space is going to be smaller, and this is really, really great. I'll also add margin top and bottom to this wrapper just so that things are spaced out nicely. And yeah, I feel like this looks pretty good. And with that, this page is built.